Suck it up, buttercup. This is the way life is. You have to kind of just deal with this. Hi, I'm Georgia Dow, and right now we're going to be getting into the things you should not say to someone that's dealing with anxiety. Yes, you might be trying to give advice, trying to be helpful. Perhaps this is supportive to you, but these are the things, please just don't do them. So let's start off with some big ones. It's not that big of a deal. First off, how do you know it's a big deal? Everyone has an anxiety for different reasons. So you may not know what is a big deal to someone else. Someone else may care a lot about color or aesthetics or their job or their work or school or exams or tests or whatever else it might be. It is a large deal to them. So we want to make sure that we're validating and supportive, not diminishing. I know how you feel. I think that we often try to say that in letting someone else know that they're not alone. But no one really has walked in someone else's shoes. And because you haven't walked in their shoes, you don't really know what they've been going through and what they haven't. And so even if you've gone through the exact same situation, you don't know how they feel about that situation because we all deal with things differently. I think we've all probably done this to someone. Just don't be angry, just calm down, just, don't be sad. It's hard for us to see someone else that's in distress, and that causes us distress. When we're watching someone else that's suffering, we end up going through secondary trauma. And so we often just want it to stop. And so we say, just calm down, but that's never worked. No one's been like, oh, okay, now I'm going to be calm. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't think about that already. So it's ineffective at best. Why are you anxious? Now, when someone's calm, this could be a fine question to be able to ask, especially depending on the tone. So if you're soothing tone, so your breathing is slow, your voice is relaxed, and you're like, hey, why are you nervous or what's wrong? That would be fine. But often it comes off as a parental, more of an accusatory, like, why are you anxious? Or I'm anxious asking you, why are you anxious? And then we're actually feeding it. We're scaffolding one upon the other because now they feel judged and worried about something. The other one that's very similar to that is, you're really anxious, aren't you? I dislike this one just because it's labeling someone, and I think that you can have anxiety and we can all deal with anxiety, but that does not make you anxiety. And I think that that label kind of sticks someone into a box. And I don't like feeling like I've been labeled with something. And I think that especially when it's something that you may not be proud of, it doesn't feel great to be labeled with that. Well, if you're really stressed, you should know what I'm dealing with. This one can happen a lot. This is the one-upping. This can happen in a story. You got bitten by one bee. Well, let me tell you about the time when I got bitten by 10. When someone's going through a difficulty, you don't want to let them know that, that's not that big of a deal because there's much worse things out there. There's always worse, right? One person that's missing a hand, someone's missing 2 arms, someone else is missing 2 arms and 2. We can constantly invalidate that, you really shouldn't be feeling this way. And then no one really has a right to their pain because there's always someone that's dealing with something worse. So when someone else is giving you a story of how they feel bad, or even when they're giving an accomplishment, try to let them have their space and share what they want to share instead of making this suddenly about you. Oh, not that again. Or, not you worrying about this again. So this can happen with someone that might be going through anxiety, and you've seen them go through anxiety many different times. It's a hard thing to deal with, and it's a hard thing to open up and share about it. So if it comes off as you are now rolling your eyes at the other person because they're suffering, and again, it might be because you're under stress, it might be difficult to watch them, you might want them to stop. Perhaps you're trying to shame them out of it, and that's what I don't like about this, is that it's a little bit of a shaming. I'm judging you for it. And then people are going to feel worse about it. They're not going to want to share. They're not going to find you as a safe person to share it with. The old pull yourself up by the bootstraps, just suck it up. Suck it up, buttercup. This is the way life is. You have to kind of just deal with this. Now, sometimes this could work for some people. Most of the time, this is gonna fail, and epically. It's the old school way of, we don't have a right to feel bad. We should always be tough, have a stiff upper lip, and just deal with it. I think that, we don't want to just wallow in pain and get stuck there. That's not healthy either. But you also have a right to whatever you're feeling. And too often we go through that toxic thought of you should never feel pain. And if you break down, you're broken. And if you can't pick up the pieces, that means you're weak. We're not superheroes. Everyone has a limit. And so try not to tell the people that are going through difficulty to just suck it up. I'm sure they've already thought about it. It's all in your head. Everything's in your head. Everything we think, experience, feel is in our head. What we see is in our head. What we touch, what we feel, these are all things that happen inside of our brain. So yes. But what you're really saying by saying it's all in your head is this isn't a big deal. You're making it up. You've created this yourself. And I think it's silly. And that's often the way that it's interpreted. In the end, what we want to do when someone comes to us in distress is try to be open, understanding, accepting, validating, and most of the time listen. I think that we often go to problem solving because when we see someone in distress, we want to fix it and want to make them feel better. But sometimes when we're trying to fix it, all it does is make them feel like, well, I wasn't smart enough to figure this out myself. Now I feel worse. So sometimes it's best just to be there and be supportive and listen. And if you're not sure what to do, let them know. What would you like me to do? And I don't know if I can help and I don't know if I understand, but I'm here. So hopefully you found these helpful. Let me know about any of the ones that you've been told or you've heard someone else say that did not make you feel great, and we can have a discussion about it below. And perhaps we will add the ones that are really important that I missed. Please subscribe. It helps people find me. And if you want to support, you can support through Patreon. Thank you.